Okay, so in this video, we're going to take a look at a load of Amigas that were just dropped off, and this is a really amazing setup. I am just blown away right now. In our last video, we took a look through 4 boxes of books and hardware and software and discs and all kinds of cool stuff from the Amiga video production setup from a local TV station. So next, we'll take a look through the 5 machines that came with this setup, and there's 2 Amiga 2000 HDs, Amiga 4040, and then this behind me is an Amiga 2500, and then of course the Amiga 3000T. These were a local TV station's production equipment. So the 4000 and the 3000T have toasters in them. There's gen locks. So there's going to be a lot of stuff in here I'm not familiar with because I never had the pleasure of messing around with the toasters back in the day. So my goal for today is to get inside the machines, check for battery damage and neutralize it. And I'm hoping you guys are going to be able to tell me what some of this stuff is or, what to do with it. So let's get to it. All right, this is going to be taking a look at the first machine, which is a Amiga 2000. So these things are really gross. I actually must have just knocked it off of here. There was a piece of mouse poop on here. I thought this was a toaster in here, but that looks like a gen lock. All right, you see it before I do, because I can't even see what's going on there yet. I see a little leakage around the battery. Digital Processing Systems 743-850. AM202M4 memory board. NES Inc. That is a lot of zip memory. Do I even want to know if any of those has gone bad? There we go. Standard A2091. Probably smart not to have the actual hard drive on it. And this card is a little bit bent. I don't know if you can see that. So yeah, battery's definitely leaking. Area looks like it's about 2 inches across. So, I've definitely seen worse a lot. It's just getting up here, not quite onto the socket for the 68,000. Not pretty. Should be doable though. Other than that, caps are looking all right. Okay, this is Amiga 2000 number 2. Doesn't look like this one has a whole ton in it. Oh, yuck. This one is not going to be a happy camper. So basically, a mouse can get in through anything that it can fit its skull through. So if it can fit through that slot, then they can get in and make a nest. So card-wise, it looks similar to the other one. We have this Magna controller card. We've got a hard card without a drive on it, and we've got yuck. And we've got a memory card, it looks like. Although this one is dips instead of zips, so yay. Also, we have a controller card of some kind over here, also Magna. This is Amiga 2500. So, hard card. Looks like an accelerator board. This one's quite a bit different. Great Valley card. Man, none of these things have the right screws anywhere. card is bent from the pressure of these cables, it looks like. So this has got to be the accelerator card. It's pretty clean. All right. Why do you keep not autofocusing? You're set to autofocus. There's another one of the Bigfoot power supplies, so that's been swapped out. Used to have a toaster in it at some point, and it's probably going to get a toaster back in it. This is probably where I'll put the video toaster too. Okay, so we definitely have some signs of battery leakage, but oh, this is the one I took the battery off while Gary was here. It's going to say there's no battery. I took it off. It's right there. There was definitely green on those pins before I started cleaning them. And I know I don't always recap everything from this era, but I really don't like the conditions these machines were in. So these are going to all get recapped. So let me recap. I'm going to recap. So next up is the 4000, and I plan to make this my primary use Amiga, at least up until I can get the 3000 from my buddy Rick working, but that thing is a mess. Of course, being the machine that I'm really interested in, this is where my phone messed up. So I ended up with a video that was almost entirely the first frame repeated over and over. I don't know what happened. Eventually the phone crashed, so here we go. Flipped it around, took a look. I could see there was a toaster in it, so I went ahead and started my note early. Once I got inside the case, it looked pretty good. You know, I've never been inside a 4000. In fact, I didn't even know they were IDE. I know. I was just on to business before the 4000 came out back in the day. But I was so excited to see the toaster in there. Looks really good. So once I pulled the drives out, I could see the daughter board a little bit better. I went ahead and pulled the toaster out. Batteries under the toaster. So once I got that out of there, I took a look and didn't really like or hate what I saw. Oh. Pulling the toaster out was kind of a religious experience for me. Now, I was happy to see that the daughter board looks pretty good. I've heard a lot of issues with leaking caps. There's a little tiny bit of corrosion on the daughter board right where it's up against the CPU board, so I'm a little worried. There's some things on that CPU board I'm not liking the look of. I'm not sure what all this brown crud is. It's not really leaking caps. It's maybe just flux. I don't know. And somebody's put a ginormous heat sink on the processor, and that heat sink is hanging over the top of two of the caps. This is the board that's reputed to have some of the caps in backwards, and clearly the four that are supposed to be in backwards are leaking on this. The battery corrosion didn't look too bad. It was definitely leaking, and so the first thing I did once I can get to it is get it clipped off the board. Once I could get it off there's a little bit of crusties there, but again, not terrible. It doesn't even look like it's affecting the RAM sockets, which surprised me. So I got out a bit of vinegar and used it to neutralize the leaking battery material, and then I cleaned that up with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. This is just a quick and dirty cleaning just to get me by until I get to the full restoration. Once I had it cleaned up, I got some pictures of it, which you can see here, and I was really happy with it. I thought it looked pretty good. So at this point, I'd gotten the battery out of there, so now it's time to button it up and move on to the next machine. I expect that this 4000 or the 2500, one of those two will be the first ones that I restore. Caps are on order, and once they get in here, expect to see this machine back on the channel with a full restoration. So the last machine I want to take a look at here is the 3000T. This is a really exciting machine, but it is a monster, and there is no way I have room for that in my shop. These machines are not for sale, but I spoke to Gary, and he was okay with selling the Amiga 3000T to Chris Edwards because he's been looking for one for a long time. If you're not familiar with Chris's channel, I will link it below, but he does some of the most extreme Amiga motherboard repairs I've ever seen. I recommend you check out the Titanic 2000 because, oh my God, I will be just taking a quick look at the machine, see how it's looking, make sure the battery's not doing a ton of damage, and just make sure the thing is good to go. It has to be shipped clear across these United States. So I'll be boxing it up and sending it off here within a few days. So Chris didn't need the video toaster and I wanted to keep it. So I decided it was time to transplant it into the 2500.
Doctor, we're ready for the transfer of the organ.
There you go, nurse. And I think this patient's toasted.
I agree.
Okay, nurse, we're prepared to open. Chest cavity is open and we're ready for the organ. It's alive! All right, so silliness aside, I was really happy to get the toaster out of there and to be able to keep it in the 2500. So you can see when they put the toaster in there, they literally cut the case on the 3000 to get it to fit. You'd think there'd be a better way, but that's what they did. So now that the toaster's out of there, we can get the rest of the stuff out of the way to get a good inspection of the board, check the shape of the battery, and see what all's going on in here. So I went ahead and pulled out the drive bay and then pulled loose the cables, cleared them out of the way. Looking at the battery, it was not as good as I thought, but not as bad as it could have been. So Chris requested that this machine come to him in the shape it's in. So the battery is staying in. I can't tell you how much it hurts my soul to send a machine out in this shape, but I understand completely because he wants to do the restoration. So every last scrap of dust and battery damage and everything's just staying. Oh, God. Once it was all done, put it back together and wrapped it up really good in bubble wrap, put that in a box, and then put that in another box with tons of peanuts and sent it off on its way. As I've been editing this, I've also stripped the 2500, so it is completely stripped down. The power supply is open. I have caps on hand. So expect to see a restoration video on the 2500 soon. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't seen the part 1 where we look through all the boxes of software and stuff, take a look right here. And otherwise, here's another video you might like. That's my good Agnes and Denise.
No, Uncle Mike, it's Luna and Tola, not Agnes and Denise.